Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum students. It's your English class with Mrs. Subhana Kousar, and we are going to start today the story It's Country for Me by Patricia DeMoth. Let me tell you some details about some information about Patricia DeMoth. She was an Irish lady. She grew up in a small town which had one store, one small library and small number of people living there. Her family was big with 11 siblings. She wanted to write about the life of a farm kid, or we can say that she wanted to write about the village life. So she moved to the country, means she moved to the village life with the husband and wrote the book Joel. Joel basically is the character there. Joel growing up a farm man, which was awarded Best Children Book in 1982. This is the background of Patricia DeMoth, and this shows that she had great love for the country life. Country life means that village life. Moving ahead. What is the significance of the title, or let me explain the title. It's Country for Me. Country, the word country has multiple meanings here. On the one hand, country means village life or rural life, and the writer Patricia DeMoth, she talks about this village life, about the people living there, their lifestyle and the atmosphere. So on the other hand, when she is writing about the village life, she shows her love for the people and even for the children and kids, the way they work there, the way they participate in each and every activity. So when she talks about the country life, and then after that she says that this country life is basically her country, means this basically is like her homeland, like the motherland. So this is the significance, that this country life, this village life is basically her country, and she does not want to move anywhere or any city at all in her whole life. Secondly, look at the here. What is it's grammatically? Grammatically, it's when you find this apostrophe with pronoun, it is called contraction. Contraction is basically the short form. For example, we are, they will, can't, couldn't, etc. So here apostrophe means that we are writing a short form. We skipped a here. And if, look here next, look, this pronoun it is without apostrophe, and we added s. This is its. It is called without apostrophe, it is called possession. For example, we are talking about a dog, a cat, then we will say its tail, its cat's tail, its tail. And look here, its cap. For example, this can be the cap of a pen. Its cap, its cap. So without apostrophe it is possession, and with apostrophe that is called contraction. And let me make it one thing clear to you, that we use contraction with apostrophe. We use contraction, we use this short form in the direct speech, in the dialogues, and when you are writing the answers, you are providing the answers of the question, you will not be giving the contractions, you will not be writing in the short forms. Make this thing clear to you. The next one, Patricia gives credit to the small town where she lives a happy, healthy, peaceful and satisfied life with her family members, having strong bondage. It means again that the story that she has written, this is we can say that depiction of her life as well, that she the kind of life that she passed, and she also grew up in such a kind of atmosphere. So moving ahead towards the themes of the story, There are different multiple themes, and all the themes are very much important, and all the themes cover your questions as well, cover the main points of the comprehension as well. First of all, dignity of labor and hard work. You will see that, you will observe that the characters, they're very much hard working, and they all the time you would find them doing some activities. And second theme is incompatible rural life, means that there is no comparison of rural life with city life that she is discussing. The next theme, that after living, as we find that there is a character Jewel. He himself says that, or that character Jewel is the representation of Patricia, is the representation of the writer as well. And Jewel says, after living out here, I don't think I would ever want to be in the city. This dialogue clarifies that the writer has presented that there is no comparison of rural life with the city life. Then the next theme, that supporting and laboring along with the studies, means there are some people who are of the view that along with the studies, sports and other hard work or other activities cannot be together taken, or some people, they are of the view that if a person is interested in sports, he cannot produce good in studies. But here the main character Jewel, that he proves it completely wrong, that along with the studies, you can go for the hard work, you can go for the labor as well, you can participate in every activity, you can help your family members, and also you can fulfill your passion during your leisure time, free time. You can go for the sports as well. Then the next and the last theme is the most important one, sharing the burden of a family. As we find that in city life, we do not find specifically the children, the kids, except father and mother, or the parents, that they only they face the burden of the whole family. But in the story, the writer has presented the characters, all the characters, in a way that maybe you will be observing that each and every character, each and every child is busy in doing some tasks as well. So here, as the character Jewel, where he will always we would find him doing some activities or participating with siblings and parents as well. And the writer says that about the burden that each and every member, whether he is a small kid or whosoever he is, they should share the burden of the family. And she has written the dialogue, that is a very beautiful dialogue that expresses this theme, that each child's labor is not only important to the family's well-being, to the family's welfare, it is essential. Means that she is emphasizing that each and every child has to participate or should participate in all the tasks, or should share the burden of family, so that all the family members can live a happy and satisfied life. As Patricia, she loves to lead this life, and Patricia, she believes that such kind of participation of every member is only to be found in village life, in country life, and not in city life. Usually we do not find such examples. So these are some of the themes of the story. So if you have understood the themes, you can go for the story and have better understanding. Next one. And then again, as the title describes, that it's a country life, So she has some given credit to the country life and the people living here, and she says that the people, they are a friendly one, they are there is calmness and satisfaction there, and the family's hold is very strong. As you would observe that all the family members, all the children, though they are independently working according to their own will, but there is a strong hold. Everybody listens, and everybody listens to each other, everybody participates in all the activities, everybody cooperates, everybody knows that what is going on. They follow the instructions of the parents as well. That we do not usually find this kind of you can say bondage in anywhere in other lives, in city life. And secondly, the people, they have close contact with the nature. This is the most important thing that that gives you satisfaction, that provides you satisfaction. Then agriculture as a fundamental occupation, that in country life people, the main occupation is basically this agriculture, and each and every member, he or she knows that they are to follow whatever their parents are doing. It is not necessary, but they go for such kind of occupation there, that usually the village people, they go for agriculture. So this is the fundamental or basic profession, you can say, occupation that they follow. And life is stable. The stable life means that they do not move towards city life. As we observe that in city life people move from one place to another place. Mobility is there. So such kind of mobility is not there in village life, in country life. That is why their life is more stable and satisfied and happy as well. Hopefully that you have understood till now the themes of the story, and basically what is the background, what is the purpose of writers writing the story or giving credit to village life. So characterization. There are some characters in a story. It is important to know about the characters, because there are some characters that you must know about them. Joel is the main character of 13 years old. James Holland. James Holland basically was great grandfather, means he was a great grandfather of Joel. Kevin was a brother. Kathy was the only sister, and the oldest one as well. She was not the oldest, she was the eldest one. Marty was brother. Bill and Terry both are brother. It means that Joel and the whole family is the brother, and the sisters, they are. Moving ahead. Setting of the story. What is the setting of the story? Before we move towards the text, you must know what is the setting. Setting means that before we start the first paragraph, we find that the first line, the first paragraph, you starts from the information that gives you basically the background or the idea behind the mind of the writer. What was the idea? What was the background that she or he wrote the essay? So this is called the setting. When we start reading, we find that Joel is reading a book, and he is feeding and loving, showing love for the animals. This is the setting of the story that gives you the whole theme, that presents the whole picture clear, that the writer is talking about the country life, about the rural life, about the village life, and the people, the loving people there, the hard-working people there. So this is the setting of the story. So, reading and explanation. When we start, we find that the first paragraph, look at the book, the first paragraph, open up your books as well, and the first paragraph says, it was 11:15 at night when Joel reading in bed. What is Joel doing? He was reading a book, and what was the time? Underline for your MCQs, it was 11:15 at night. And when the mother calls Joel, come here and feed Lambie, will you? She usually fed the orphan lamb. Underline the word orphan. Orphan means that a child whose parents are dead. It means that Lambie is an orphaned child here, and the mother is requesting Joel to feed Lambie, to provide food to the Lambie. But usually the mother was used to give the food to the animals and to the Lambie. But why is she today requesting to Joel? Because she has come late from a meeting and she is wearing good clothes. That is the reason that she is requesting to Joel. And you would observe there that Joel, it is 11:15 at night, 11:15 at night, and Joel is still reading and just sitting on the bed. It seems that he is being a child. He is really very much active, that till 11:15 he is involved in this healthy activity. So the next paragraph, the small dog Jessica. Observe here, the small dog Jessica. Jessica basically is the name of this small dog, and the nickname was Jess. The small dog Jessica jumped out from the doorsteps as Joel came outside. A pair of overalls pulled over his pajamas, the laces of his boots dangling loose. Dangling loose means that the laces, they were basically, you can say that they were there hanging, they are loose. What does this shows? That the overalls and the shoes are hanging, they are loose. It means that he was in a very casual mood. He was lying on the bed and reading the book. Let me grammatically explain this thing. The small dog, observe comma, and Jessica. The small dog, noun phrase, Jessica is noun. This is called noun phrase. This noun phrase is called noun in apposition, not opposition. Noun in apposition or appositive noun. What is noun in apposition? Whenever you find a noun there, whether the noun is given earlier, for example, Ali, this is noun, and this is my best friend is noun phrase, or whether noun phrase is given early. What happens that when the phrase explains something about the noun, or it gives a reference to the noun, or gives some identical information for the noun, this is called noun in apposition or appositive noun. Look here, Ali, my best friend. It means that my best friend, this information is, or this is the reference towards Ali. And similarly, the small dog means Jessica. Jessica was the small dog. So this is called noun in apposition or appositive noun. So here this noun phrase is called noun in apposition. So we have read that where is Joel going to feed Lambie. So you would observe one thing, that when you read the text here, it says that hey Jess, he greeted her, ruffling the dog's thick fur with one hand as they loped together. Loped means jumped together to the bone. It means that now observe here that when that dog and the Lambie, they saw that Jess is coming there towards the barn. They both Lambie and dog, they got really very much happy because this shows that he had great association with those animals, that we do not find in city life such kind of association. It means that he had strong not only association but great love for nature as well. This shows that he has direct connection with the nature. That is a very pleasant and very impressive positive thing as well. And you would observe that what is the food of the lambi that he is providing him? Milk replacement, underline milk replacement in a soda pop bottle capped with a black nipple. It means that there was a soda bottle and there was milk in that bottle, and he is providing the milk to the lambi, and that there is the nipple of that bottle is black. So this is the information that can be asked in your MCQs as well. And let me make the meanings clear as well. Dangling means that they're hangings, that his laces were hanging or they're loose. Or ruffling the dog's fur means that he is disorganizing the ruff. It means this expression shows that he's basically loving that dog. Is just showing an association with the dog. So moving ahead, the next paragraph starts from Joel Holland. Joel Holland has lived. Joel Holland has lived. Start from this paragraph. Before that, basically the paragraphs, they only give the information that give the information about the strong association of Jess with all the animals, with the barn or with the farm life, or with not only the family, his own family, but all the sheep, all the cattle and the animals as well. That so many times the previous paragraphs show that so many times he had been visiting that barn and had developed a great love with the animals. So the next question number 2 starts from the paragraph. Joel Holland has lived on the 245-acre farm since he was born, 13 years old. Here is the age of Joel is given, 13 years old, means since 13 years old he had been on the same farm, and it is the farm of his ancestors. Underline the word ancestors, mean forefathers. He lives in this house that his great grandfather built, and this farm was built by his great grandfathers, and the land he helps here, his father and brothers, they basically cultivated this land, and their the great grandfather James Holland, as I already told you, was his great grandfather who bought this farm in 1860. Underline this 1860 information regarding your MCQs. And James was an Irish immigrant. Underline the word immigrant. What is immigrant? Immigrant means that the one who migrates from one place to another place. It means that he moved. He was an Irish immigrant, means he moved from Irish and towards America. Now what is in the second paragraph? Let me explain that you have read that Holland's farm. Holland, basically James Holland, this is of the family name that they have given. The writer is telling us about the Joel's family, Holland's family. Their farm is on 245 acres, based on 245 acres. There are some cattle and sheep there, and James Holland bought in 1860, and James Holland basically says that they are the ancestors, and means the forefathers, and or you can say that the great grandfathers. James Holland was, who was he? James Holland was great grandfather, and he 120 years of cultivation, means that he says that since they migrated here on this land, it has taken 120 years that they've been cultivating this land and making this land fertile, and that is the reason that this is a beautiful place to live here. So moving ahead, the next paragraph that tells us about the public school of Joel, that where he was basically studying. Before we move towards this third question, let me read the paragraph. The previous paragraph, that he drove a team of horses to plough. Let me make it one thing more clear, that the great grandfathers and the father of Joel basically used to plough the land with a team of horses. That is a very difficult, very hard task, and I would say that Joel was basically also been participating along with them, and that is the reason that they made that the soil, the rich and black one. So the line ends that farming, it is Joel's heritage. Heritage means that as we observe that the Holland's farm, this is basically one of the beautiful soil for cultivation, because they had been working very harder. That is the reason that Joel himself says that it is his heritage. Heritage means that from forefathers and from ancestors, this beautiful and this soft and rich soil basically being transferred towards this generation, and Joel and his siblings are participating. So the next paragraph, question number 3, starts from Joel attends public school. Got it? Joel attends, let me read, public school in Scales Mound, in a split level brick building with 235 other grade school and high school pupils. Pupils means students. About half the students are farmers, and this year Joel will graduate from 8th grade and begin 9th. So this is the information that question number 3. What is the question number 3? That is, in what ways do you find some information about that the school of Joel, and some more information about Joel as well. Basically, now let me recapitulate that Joel's school is in Scales Mound, and Joel will be shifting from grade 8th to 9th grade, and there are total 235 students in school. Mean the whole school, there are 235 students, and all the students are farmer. So moving ahead to question number 4. The question number 4 is that what is being an adult? Being an adult, let me read the question so that it can be easier for you to know the answer and to understand the information as well, because you will be inshallah preparing your assignments after the chapter will be ended. So question is, in what ways does Joel play the role of an adult? Role of an adult. So let's start reading. The paragraph starts from, but when the school bus drops. When the school bus drops. Got it? When the school bus drops Joel, and he runs up the quarter-mile lane to his farmhouse, slips out of his sneakers. What are the sneakers? Sneakers are basically soft shoes or with rubber sole. Soft shoes with rubber sole. And he pulls on his boots. Then his life is no longer typical of an average teenager. His footgear. What is footgear? Footgear basically is you can say that stiff shoes, stiff kind of. And as you observe here, that stiff shoes means that the shoes which are used for dirty, tough and hard tasks. So he is wearing them, and Joel wears boots every day, no matter what the season is. Let me explain the answer. The paragraph says that when Joel has come back from the school, that he removes his sneakers and he wears footgear. Those are stiff stiff shoes and are used for hard tasks and dirty works. And the paragraph shows that it means that being an adult, he is how much interested and you can say that dutiful or hardworking the kid is. He is Jewel. That here when he has come from school, he is going to participate in the activities, or he is going to participate all the activities, all the tasks at home, or he is sharing the, it means that the burden of the family, burden of both the parents. And here that theme that is clearly we can cover the theme in this question as well, that along with the studies, labor can also be taken side by side, and we can observe that Jewel was used to achieve A and B grades. He was not an average student. He was a very good student in studies as well, and he does the labor as well, and that is the reason that he wears footgear. And more, the paragraph says that form families working together by sharing the responsibilities. This is again another theme that when we observe that Jewel is just ready after school, when he has come, that ready to go for work, it means that each and every kid is going to participate or going to share the burden of the family. This is the being an adult, he is playing the role. And the Hollands means, this is basically by adding s, for example the James, the Hollands, this is basically family name, and with family names we always use article the. For example, the Hollands, for example the James, so these are all family names. So you always go for article the with them. Understood? So moving ahead, the next question is question number 5, and the statement of the question is, what skills must a farmer have to be? What skills means, he is talking about the skills, and the paragraph basically starts for the answer number question number 5. The paragraph starts, to run a farm like this. To run a farm like this. Got it? To run a farm like this, farmers have to have many skills. They have to be machine operators, driving immense means, underline difficult word, immense mean huge and powerful vehicles. They have to be mechanics, repairing the machines, and raising livestock. And so livestock mean raising the cattle and sheep and all other animals. So let me clarify that what kind of skills he is talking about that the farmer should have in country life. He must be a machine operator, or he must have skills in operating the machines, and there are some people who go for business as well, who do business as well other than doing farmings. And this driving heavy vehicles, it is one of the most important skills that Joel also was trying to develop these skills to drive the heavy vehicles. And raising cattle and sheep, or raising livestock means how to raise the animals and cattle and sheep and all. So all the animals, they must have skills how to take care of them, how are they kept, or how smoothly the whole family can run the system. So these are some skills that the writer feels that every person in country life must have their skills. So moving ahead, the paragraph starts, then the line says, as the youngest, Joel has at times had more farming teachers than he is wanted. Got it? As the youngest. So let me start from the paragraph. Okay. As the youngest, Joel has at times had more farming teachers, and one night he sat at the kitchen table. It means they are sitting around the kitchen table and listening to the dad and brothers talk about the rewards of farming, and everyone is talking about that farming, it's a good independent life. Means Joel has heard that the family members are talking about the farming life, that it's a good independent life, but Joel does not feel at that time when they are sitting around the kitchen table, Joel does not agree that it is independent life. And this basically dialogue was uttered by his brother Bill, and Bill is of the view that why is he this independent life, because you are your own boss. Means as we find this in city life, that people while doing jobs, they are bound to follow the instructions of their bosses, but in farming life there is no boss. You are your own boss. Whenever you like to go towards any activity, whatever you go do, you are independent. When Joel has heard this dialogue, he says, I wouldn't know, said Joel, grinning. Underlying the difficult word grinning means that he is smiling with a taunt or giving a broad smile, because that shows that he does not agree. I have got bosses. Who? Asked the dad. Joel says that he is not basically of the view that it's independent life. He does not agree with this point of view that farming is independent life, because he has his so many bosses. And Joel pointed to each one of the table, and everybody started laughing. So if I ask you that why is we know that Joel likes and loves this farming life, and then why is he saying that this is the farming life is not independent, and you have got so many bosses? Because let me make it one thing clear here, that Joel basically is the youngest in his family, and being a youngest one, he always is bound to follow the instructions and act upon the suggestions and pieces of advice given by all the family members. So that is the reason that he might be feeling this thing, that he does not agree that this life is independent one. But you will be observing that after developing all the skills, gradually Joel his mind gets changed, and then he feels that he is really his own boss, because after developing the skills, he does not go for anyone's instructions to follow them. He always keeps himself busy doing different kind of tasks and participating with the family members. But at that time, sitting around the kitchen table, he does not agree with the family. The Joel, as the youngest one, the reason is that he is basically of the opinion that there are so many bosses. He had to face many farming teachers. Who are these teachers? These are his siblings that he is supposed to follow their instructions or act upon the pieces of advices of those his elder sister and brothers. Farming is an independent life, and Joel does not agree with this idea until he himself, I'm talking about that specific situation when he himself gets elder one. So when he himself understands the skills, develops the skills, or gradually with the passage of time, we can say that also develops this the vision that really it's an independent life. This is not the life of the city life, the people living in city life, though that they are not, their life is not so for their job is concerned, their life is not independent. So this was the situation that he is grinning and showing the emotions, we can say, or expressing his emotions. So moving ahead, question number 7. Question number 7, basically we can say that what is if that farming life, basically the writer says that Joel's choice is basically farming life. Do you agree that Joel is right, that he has he has selected his life to be there in farm, or to be there? So the writer says that if I had one word to describe Joel, it would be enthusiasm. Enthusiasm means the passion. To describe the beautiful expression, to describe Joel, the writer has used, he says that this is the passion, this is basically the enthusiasm of Joel that always keeps him busy. As we have read earlier, that this farming is basically Joel's heritage. And then the writer says that he uses his youthful energy on this farm, and on one summer day he jumped 15 fences. He drove farm machinery 25 miles and fed 320 animals, opened and closed 8 gates, walked in rain about 8 miles, jumped on and off the tractor 26 times, lifted 900 pounds of grain, and ate about 2600 calories. So these all information show that Joel really was an enthusiastic, was a passionate farmer, and that is why we can say that Joel's choice, that is farming life, was his right decision, in a way that he wanted, or he gives preference to this rural life. So you can observe that all these activities in a day, or that it means that he is used to doing all these activities or participating in such kind of activities since his childhood, walking and running and feeding the animals and lifting the weight and driving machinery. That is the reason he says the most important line: farming is Joel's heritage. Farming is Joel's passion, basically. Heritage, again, I would explain. I had already explained you, and I'm explaining that has come from his ancestors into Joel. These skills they have been transferred from his ancestors, from James Holland, his great grandfathers. They are transferred into Joel, and so that is why we can say that Joel's choice is right. Then, what are the sports activities? You can be asked this question as well. That though I think that this question is not mentioned in. There are some questions, students, that they are not mentioned in comprehension, but I have made them or created them for your convenience. That you know that any kind of question from the text, any unseen question, can also be there in your exams. Can also be asked. Joel's sports activities. This is again one of the major themes that this information basically discards the point of view of those people, those who believe that along with the studies, sports activities cannot be taken side by side if you want to achieve good grades. There are different paragraphs that we observe that Joel been participating. The paragraph starts from regardless of how much energy, again I repeat, regardless of how much energy his work consumes, Joel has plenty left over for sports. He hunts deer and traps wildlife. In the fall, the snow mobiles. In the winter, spring brings softball and basketball games, and summer provides weather for water skiing and fishing. Nearly all his favorite sports are played outdoors. So these are the sports activities: hunting deer, trapping wildlife, doing water skiing and fishing, softball and basketball games are of his interest. So how can we say that a child cannot participate, or the children cannot participate or cannot achieve good grades in studies when they go for sports, or when they participate in the some home task activities, when they share the burden of the families. So Jewel is an ideal kind of character, and is a really very good representation of a kid spending his life on farm, or spending the life in village, that you yourself can really feel the difference, that how much difference is there between Joel and you, how is he participating, how is he sharing the burden of parents, and he is very much enthusiastic and passionate, not only for studies but all in each and every activity. And he is a very good observer. He knows that what the other family members are doing, he follows them, and that is the reason of his success. So the last paragraph, let me read. If he had to live in the city life for a year, Jewel says he would mostly miss the city life. No, he says he would mostly miss the village life. And he says that I would miss seeing things grow, the change of the season. It means he's talking about not the city life. Rather he says that he would be, when he would be in city life, he would be missing the village life. And what he would be missing? The change of the season. In fact, if Jewel could choose any place in the world to live, he guesses he would live right here. Means in country life, in village life, on farm life, and it would have to be a country, no other life. After living out there, I don't think I would ever want to be in the city. You just don't have the freedom. Now you can observe the comparison. Between rural and city life. He says that no freedom with which kind of freedom, I would ask you, that he is talking about specifically with reference to. We are not going to make a comparison, or this lesson is not specifically with the you can say that with the vision of comparison, but basically we can observe that there is a strong connection with nature, or strong bondage with nature, or direct contact with nature, that undoubtedly makes everyone feel satisfied, happy, and it makes you healthy as well. And that is the reason that he has given the comparison, that so far the jobs are concerned, we in city life, you always are bound to follow the instructions of the bosses, but here is a freedom. Whenever you want to do whatever you want to do, you do it yourself by your own will. And then he says that you just don't have the freedom or the responsibilities. I'm not saying a city kid doesn't have responsibilities. Again, let me make it one thing clear to everyone, that he has made it clear that it means that I told you that Joel is the representation of a writer's point of view, and he makes it clear that he does not mean that a city kid is not responsible. No, you, everyone is responsible. But honestly telling you, or observe it yourself, that in city life we do not share the burden. That are the responsibilities that he is talking about. We always keep ourselves busy in our tasks, whatever is concerned relevant with us, with our grooming. But he is the representation of the kid in living in farming life, that they participate, or Jewel and his all siblings, they participate in the all and the kind of activities that is just to give the relief to the family members, share the burden of the family members, and they in this way they learn that what will be helping them in future as well. And he says that but you don't know as a family the way you do on a form. I would just have to be it would just have to be country for me. And he's again a beautiful expression that he says that the way the family lives, he would love to be on the country life. It means that he is talking about working as a family. We won't say specifically that he's talking about the joint system, but to some extent we can say that he says that it would just have to be a country for me to live and to work as a family, the way the people live there. Again, as you have observed that all the siblings of Jewel and along with Jewel, they participate in each and every activity. They take care of the sheep and all the animal, and they listen to the pieces of advice of their elders one, and to their grand. They know that this farming life is basically, this agricultural life is basically the heritage of their forefathers, and they all together by keeping this vision in their mind, they have made their soil, the Hollands, this land, they have made it the rich and beautiful place for cultivation. That is why he ends the paragraph that with the view that rural life, village life, that is, there is a freedom there, and the family shares the burden, and the family unitedly and jointly lives there, and they have got you can say that a specific connection with nature, and they willingly do everything. I am just basically recapitulating things, that basically they not only participate in they not only share the burden of the family, but it gives them satisfaction as well, it gives them peace as well, because in farming life each and every person does everything according to his own will. And by this lesson we have observed that all the kids, all the siblings of Joel, along with Joel, they are very good students as well. They have been very good, they have been achieving very good grades, and now everyone is basically has become an expert in every task, and they have developed all the skills or in the heritage that has been transferred from their forefathers, and they are very good at studies as well, that usually you and I myself do not find. You and I, we do not find such kind of skills, such kind of expertise, peace, satisfaction, we do not find in our life. So this is a very beautiful story, and that gives all the details of a farming life, a country life, a village life that is beautiful, peaceful, that is satisfaction there, and being in the company of nature gives you soothing effect. Thank you so much. Hopefully you have understood the lesson, and I have let me make it one thing clear, that I tried my best to discuss all the questions along with the paragraphs where you can easily find the answers, the relevant answers there. And if when you will be inshallah having better understanding of the lesson after having understood the lesson, I am giving you the assignment to prepare the comprehension and send me in your relevant studies discussion group there, and then I would be observing that how much better understanding you had of the lesson. Thank you so much, and Allah Hafiz.